In this corner, the 2012 Marvel Legends Epic Heroes Iron Man by Hasbro. And in this corner, the all-new 2024 Marvel Legends Retro Card Iron Man, also by Hasbro. Which one is the best Model 9 Iron Man for your collection? Place your bets and stick around. It's time for my very first Iron Man Versus. Starting with the packaging, and it's a battle of the blister cards. As we can see, this one's the Marvel Universe Epic Heroes Marvel Legends Iron Man. Man, Hasbro loved this line so much they named it 3 times. Beautiful painted artwork in the corner of Iron Man telling you to chill out. We see that full image back here. Short simple bio over here. And on the side it tells us to collect all 6 figures. Figures like Iron Man, Doctor Doom, and Deadpool. Or my favorite character, Marvel Knights. Or this blue skin chick known as X-Mutants. The retro card is designed to emulate the animated series by Toy Biz. Some of the details are a little bit different, but for the most part this is absolutely spot on. If only we could emulate these prices. Flip it around back, that's pretty spot on too, with Iron Man having a bio and an instructional schematic. Bit of a missed opportunity not to show other available figures, and hopefully an updated Mandarin will be coming soon. Don't get me wrong, I love me a retro card and all the nostalgic feelings it fills me with, and it takes a lot of effort to recreate something so exacting. But between trying to do its own thing, beautiful artwork, and showing you not only the figure you're supposed to be getting, but other available figures, for packaging, this round goes to Old. Moving on to presentation, an Epic Hero stands at 6 inches, whereas the new retro card stands at 6.5. While that might seem a bit on the small side, it's important to remember that that makes this figure closer to a true 1/12 scale. It also puts him in good company with more live-action Hasbro figures. Hasbro's journey with getting on track for Marvel Legends is a long and storied one, and I am not enough of an expert to know if this particular figure reuses any parts. The new retro card reuses the hands and legs from the 80 Years Iron Man. The arms don't match any Iron Man in my collection, so I don't know if they're reused, but they are pinless. Of course, we've got to address the elephant's foot in the room, by which of course I mean these gigantic, clunky, booster-style boots. And seriously, who's your designer? Spawn? The Model 9 was depicted as having boots like this in the comic, but it was shown as having more normal style calves. Personally, I associate the chunkier boots with the Model 10, which is the space armor. That said, this is probably a good time to mention that Hasbro did reissue the Epic Heroes as part of Wave 1 of the retro cards, and that version did have the smaller boots. Additionally, the Unibeam should be yellow. Personally, I think they made it blue to tie it into this AI Iron Man, so in that regard the Epic Heroes is more accurate. It also benefits from a beautiful metallic finish. Hasbro cast their figure in marbleized plastic, which is par for the course, but they went for some very bright shades of red and yellow. By marbleized, I mean it looks like old roast beef. As we'll see later, that helps it to blend in better with more comic and cartoon colored Iron Men, but if I'm honest, I'll take this any day. Yeah, he's got those ugly old school Marvel Legends hips, and I can't deny that the proportions are better on the new one, but side by side, one of these feels like a toy, and one of these feels like a collectible. What can I say? My crow brain just likes shiny things. For presentation, this round goes to Old. Moving on to Poseability, and this actually ended up being a much tighter round than you'd expect. From the top, an Epic's head is on a simple ball joint, Retro is on a ball joint and a disc swivel. Thanks to the disc swivel, and Retro can look up much higher and down a bit lower. Neither one has any tilt to speak of, but both can get all the way around. Moving on down, an Epic has a little hinge in the shoulder to accommodate this pauldron, whereas the Retro card is a more flexible piece pegged in with the shoulder. Far and away, Epic Heroes has a superior arm raise, but both figures have bicep swivel. They also both have double jointed elbows, but neither have very deep of a bend because of those bulky gauntlets. And then at the ends of the arms, both figures have wrists that can swivel and hinge up or down. Moving to the middle, and both Model 9 Iron Men have an ab crunch and a waist swivel. Between the two, Epic Heroes has the better arch back, whereas Retro card has the best hunch forward. No tilt of course, but both figures can twist. Below the waist, and this is the biggest difference in articulation between these two figures. Retro card has the standard Marvel Legends ball jointed hip that we're used to, but Epic Heroes have these old style swivel hinge balls. Essentially, they peg into the groin and thigh, just like the shoulder pegs into the arm and bicep. They can kick this high, with the Retro card being ever so slightly higher, but Epic Heroes has the better sidekick. Otherwise, this functions very much like a thigh cut of course being what RetroCard has. Moving down, they have double jointed knees with a pretty equivalent bend. Additionally, both figures have boot cut rotation. It's when we get to those clunky, oversized boots that we start to have a problem. The Epic Heroes has swivel in the ankle, but if you check out the back, it looks like they're supposed to be hinged, but for the life of me, I have not been able to get them to work. Alternately, the RetroCard has hinge, but it's not very deep, and while there is technically pivot, there's so little of it that it almost doesn't matter. With that being said, neither of these are really all that functional. In fact, while not for all, I've had to use figure stands for almost every dynamic pose in this video. That said, between the two, RetroCard does have the better range, so for poseability, this round goes to new. Moving on to playability, and in terms of accessories, this is going to be brief. Epic Heroes was made before alternate parts were the norm. In fact, the only thing it comes with is a figure stand. They're actually interlocking if you want to put a bunch of them together, and while it technically fits the figure it comes with, the modern Model 9 is a no-go. That's okay though, because the RetroCard has these old faithful blast effects that peg in just fine. He's also got a couple of standard issue blast hands. No hinge on those this time, unfortunately. And while you could of course use the repulsor blasts on the hands, this Iron Man actually has something new. Not one, but two energy smoke effects. Finally, having a new energy effect is very refreshing, and each one has been individually sculpted. And now that we have these, we can retroactively use them on other Iron Man figures. But playability's more than just figure stands and fancy new energy effects. It's also about how well your figure plays with others. Starting with Iron Man and going in order of model number, and here's the Model 1. There is a gold version of this in this wave, but I haven't decided if I'm picking that up yet. Next up is the 20th anniversary version, which is the Model 2. The more comic booky colors obviously better fit the RetroCard. That said, for the Model 3, we're going to start with the 2012 version. Obviously, this is a much better match for the Epic Heroes. Jumping ahead though, and here's the 80 years version, which is my personal favorite, and the AI version in that classic McDonald's mustard and ketchup. Next up is this dark blue armor. I don't know what that's about. Next is the Silver Centurion and the 90s style modular armor. That was also released on a RetroCard with brighter colors. And then here we have Heroes Return. Hopefully we get Heroes Reborn at some point. Next is the status quo changing Extremis, and then jumping all the way to Model 70, and here's the one designed by Alex Ross. I definitely have a few gaps to fill. For some other Avengers, and here we have the 20th anniversary Captain America, the 80 years Mighty Thor, and the 80 years Incredible Hulk. But for an Avenger who also appeared on the Iron Man animated series, and here we have Hawkeye. For another animated series alumnus, and here's the Julie Carpenter Spider-Woman, and the deluxe edition War Machine. For a couple of Iron Man animated series villains, and here's Grey Gargoyle, and a mental organism designed only for killing. But for a few other Avengers level threats, and here's Ultron, Baron Zemo, and Kang the Conqueror. For a relative scale comparison, here are our Iron Men with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here they are with the real stealth Iron Man. I get that because the RetroCard wave is based on the animated series, having cartoonier colors makes sense, but boy do I prefer the deeper, more metallic reds and golds. And it's not like they didn't do it for the Model 20 here in the same wave. Even so, between scaling better with a wider range of Marvel figures as well as both more and new accessories, for playability, this round goes to new. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. I got the Epic Heroes version at a toy show for only $10, which is perfect for me, but on average this guy goes for $30 on the aftermarket. At only $25 retail, this guy is widely available, has more value in the box, and is going to scale better with the rest of your collection. There's a lot to love with the Epic Heroes version, and I'm really glad that I have him, but for price, this round goes to new, who wins the battle 3-2. Agree? Disagree? Sound off in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss my upcoming videos on these two. If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.